Welcome back, everyone. Before we can argue about who can and cannot be an anti-Semite, we should ask a much simpler question. What is a Semite? Over the next 3 episodes, we're going to travel through the ancient flood into 21st century politics. Today's episode is pure groundwork. 4,000 years ago, or so the story goes, 3 brothers walked off an ark. One of them, Sam, is never again displayed in any museum case. Yet his name lies at the heart of modern battles over racism, free speech in politics, and religion. How did that happen? Let's take it back to where it all started, at the Table of Nations. From a theological perspective, Sam takes center stage as the favored son of Noah. The scroll lists his children: Elam, Ashur, Arphaxshad, Lud, Aram. Names that map a broad crescent stretch from the Mesopotamian to the Arabian Peninsula. Theologians add 3 defining roles. Stewards of monotheism, Sam is cast as the guardian of the post-flood creed, shielding the belief in one God as new tribes scatter. Number 2, custodian of language. Historians have him as the preserver of pure tongue that later splinters at Babel, giving birth to sister languages, Hebrew, Aramaic, and Arabic. Last, the long-lived mentor. Some accounts credit Sam with 600 years of life, long enough to counsel multiple generations and keep the ancestral memory intact. If geography is destiny, Sam's descendants drew the map for half of the Near East, or in other words, Western Asia. Before Semite became a hashtag, it was simply a family tree etched into the margin of sacred history. Fast forward 30 centuries, 18th century, European philologists Johann Gottfried Eichhorn noticed an uncanny root shared amongst Hebrew, Aramaic, and Arabic. To label that cluster of the 3 languages, he reached back to the old genealogy and coined it the Semitic language. Now it gets interesting. The term is ethno-linguistic, not necessarily religious. Syriac Christians, Yemenite Jews, and pagan Nabateans all qualify because they speak tongues rooted in the same grammatical soil. Semitic therefore includes anyone descended culturally or linguistically from that speech community, regardless of later faith. By the time 19th century politics invents the word antisemitism, the label has narrowed from many peoples to one target. But we will save that twist for a later episode. Let's pause and meet the skeptic in the room. Is any of this actually historically proven? No contemporaneous clay tablet names Sam. No royal stele, S-T-E-L-E, dedicated a city to him. Historians file him under eponymous ancestors, legendary figures invented to explain why related tribes speak related languages. Does that invalidate the label? Think of Uncle Sam for Americans and John Bull for Britons, fictional avatars that combine very real communities. Sam works the same way for the people we group as Semites. Now that we've established that the term flows from language and geography, not creed, it embraces Palestinians whose mother tongue is Arabic just as naturally as it embraces Hebrew-speaking Jews. If both communities and faiths inherit the same ancestral label, can the charge of anti-Semitism really only apply to one side of the family? So to recap, Sam or Shem is a theological ancestor, legendary, not excavated. The label Semite began as an umbrella for linguistically linked people, wide enough to shade Hebrews, Assyrians, Arabs, and yes, Palestinians. I'll leave you with a question to ponder. If the label began this wide, who gets to narrow it and to what end? Thank you for listening to the Dr. Joudeh Effect podcast. Subscribe, like, share, and join me in the next episode of the Semite series as we trace the Semitic family route from Babylon's gates to Bethlehem's streets.